They say the soul can die long before the body ever gives in. Mine died on a Tuesday, under a sun that didn't feel like a warm kiss, but like a sentence passed down by the universe itself. Have you ever felt that hollow sinking sense that you're fading, becoming a ghost in your own life? If you have, then maybe you'll understand me. And if you don't, well, I hope you won't judge too harshly. Stay with me. Listen until the end. And if somewhere in my story you feel a flicker of recognition, tap the like button, subscribe. So I know I'm not shouting into the void all alone. It's been 3 years since that day by the coast. 3 years since the world tilted, sending everything I thought I knew, tumbling into a dark, endless canyon. It was meant to be a simple escape, just me and my son Leo at Serenity Cove. Julian, my husband, wasn't with us. Another emergency at the firm, another deadline that conveniently landed on a weekend. Work was his real partner. I had been reduced to the silent, accommodating mistress of his life, keeping my resentment tucked away, like fine china no one ever uses. But that day, something in the air felt different. The heat was oppressive, heavy with an unnameable tension. The sun burned down on the white sand until it shimmered, and the roar of the waves became the only thing loud enough to quiet the screaming in my head. We found our spot. I stretched out on the towel, eyes closed, savoring the freedom from the suffocating walls of that perfect but empty house. Leo was 18 then, on the cusp of manhood, lean and strong, with those same storm-gray eyes as his father. Except Leo's eyes still had a gentleness Julian had long since lost. "Leo, darling," I murmured, my voice barely carried by the breeze. "Could you help me with some sunscreen on my back?" Why would I think twice he was my child, my blood? It was such an innocent request, wasn't it? At first it was just that his cool hands moving across my shoulders, with that slightly awkward care of a teenage boy. But then, something shifted. His palms lingered, became more certain, slower, lower, following the curve of my spine in a way that made my breath catch before I could stop it. My mind screamed, "Sit up, stop him. Break whatever this is before it becomes something else." But my body betrayed me. Years of neglect had left me starving for any human touch. So I didn't move. I didn't speak. You think you understand the lines that separate mother from woman. Let me tell you, there's a single moment that can blur them all, dismantling everything you thought you knew about yourself. For me, that moment happened on the beach, and it would change my universe forever. Julian and I had been married for nearly 20 years. To the outside world, we were the picture of success. A beautiful house in the suburbs, 2 children, a life polished like fine glass. But cracks are invisible from the outside. The emptiness, that's something only the one living inside can see. For years, Julian's ambition devoured him. It wasn't just work, it was his identity. He'd come home late, smelling faintly of the city and expensive cologne, his eyes looking straight through me, like I was just another piece of furniture in his perfect life. Our conversations became nothing more than checklists, bills, groceries, Maya's school play. He loved Leo and Maya, I suppose, but his love was like a distant star, You could see it, but you could never feel its warmth. That morning, I stood in the kitchen as he grabbed his briefcase, already halfway out the door. He kissed the top of Maya's head, then glanced at me with that well-practiced look of regret. Sorry, something's come up. I can't make it today. I just nodded, swallowing that familiar knot in my throat. It's okay, I whispered. On the drive to the coast, Leo sat beside me, with his headphones and eyes fixed on the passing scenery. He was growing up so quickly, and in that quiet moment, I felt a sharp, aching premonition, one I didn't yet have words for. Would I blink one day, and he'd be gone too? That thought lingered like a shadow in my mind. I drifted back to the ghost of the man I had once married. I remembered those aimless, late-night drives, windows down his hand, resting warm on my thigh, and the way his eyes used to burn with a light, meant only for me. That light had gone out years ago, leaving me cold unseen, and dangerously, hopelessly empty. Are you still with me right now? If you are, just type 1 in the comments. It matters more than you know, because I need to feel that you're here listening. Back on the beach, under the heavy weight of that summer sun, I close my eyes as Leo's hands smooth the oil into my skin. The motion was steady, almost hypnotic. And just for a moment, I let myself pretend it was Julian on our honeymoon. Pretend I was still the woman someone once couldn't keep their hands off. Then it happened. His hands slid lower, slow, deliberate, until they hovered at the edge of my bikini bottom. My breath hitched. Every nerve lit up like firecrackers beneath my skin. A silent alarm screamed in my head, but my voice never came. Inside me, two halves of myself were at war. The mother shocked and appalled, the lonely, neglected woman whispering, "Don't let him stop." And then I heard myself, my own voice, low, strange, almost unrecognizable. "It's okay. You can go on." The words hung between us, in the hot, salty air, obscene, irreversible. He hesitated only a heartbeat before slipping his fingers beneath the fabric. The touch was searing, electric, forbidden. My heart pounded against my ribs, a frantic drumbeat to the steady crash of the waves. I could have stopped him. I should have stopped him. But in that moment, I didn't care about right or wrong. I was nothing but raw need, hungry for validation, no matter how poisonous the source. That day, something in me broke, and those pieces would never fit together the same way again. If my words resonate, if you think someone else should hear this, share this video. It's the only way I'll know I'm not alone in exploring these shadowed corners of the human heart. The drive home was suffocating. The air in the car felt thick enough to choke on. I didn't look at him, but I could feel his gaze, searching, knowing. He had seen something in me that day and recognized it. Because he felt it too. At home, life became a minefield. Glances stolen like contraband. Silences thick with something unspoken, but unmistakable. Julian moved through the house in his usual oblivion, never seeing what was unfolding under his own roof. One evening, he came home late again, a perfunctory kiss on my cheek. "Long day," he muttered, already loosening his tie. I watched him walk away and felt nothing but a cold, heavy stone in my stomach. That night, I lay in bed beside him, listening to the steady sound of his breathing. But my mind was in the room next door with my son. I hated myself for it. I hated him for making me feel it. But loneliness is a cancer, and I was ready to take any cure. No matter how lethal, days bled together into a haze of tension. Leo was everywhere, his presence magnetic, inescapable. I'd be at the kitchen sink and feel him standing just behind me, close enough that his body heat warmed my back. We didn't talk about it. We didn't need to. The silence between us hummed like a live wire. Then came the second time. Another sweltering weekend. Another last-minute work emergency from Julian. "Let's go back to the beach," I heard myself suggest. My voice sounded strange, like I wasn't sure if I was testing myself or walking straight back into the fire. This time the beach was nearly deserted. We spread our towels, but I didn't ask him to put sunscreen on me. I couldn't. Instead, I pretended to nap, but I could feel his gaze tracing me like fingertips. Later, we went to the public showers to rinse off the salt. He stepped under the spray, first water cascading down the tan line of his back, and then, without thinking, without wanting to think, I dropped my cover up and stepped in beside him. His eyes widened. Shock, or something else, darker in their gray depths. "You should take off your shorts too," I heard myself say. My voice was both a command and a plea. He stood there, dripping, staring at me for a long, suspended moment. Slowly, he did. And then it was just us alone beneath the falling water, the sound cascading around us, like a curtain shutting out the rest of the world. I turned my back to him and whispered, "Help me." At first, his hands were almost tentative. But the air between us was electric. Every drop of water felt charged, every breath heavy with something unspoken but undeniable. When his arms slid around my waist, drawing me back against him, my whole body went rigid. This was it. The edge. The last safe moment before the fall. I could have walked away. I should have run. Instead, I leaned back into him. I took his hands in mine, guiding them upward over my stomach, higher until they were on my chest. He didn't stop me. What came next was a blur, messy, urgent, tangled. It wasn't soft, it wasn't slow. It was a collision of two starving souls, wrong in every conceivable way. But in that moment, I didn't care. I didn't want it to stop. I clung to him like a drowning woman grasping a poisoned raft, knowing it could kill me, but unwilling to let go. Afterwards, the drive home was silent, so silent that the air itself seemed to weigh 100 pounds. When I pulled into the driveway and turned off the engine, he finally looked at me. For the first time, I saw it clear in his eyes. No guilt, no confusion, just raw, aching hunger. The same hunger burning inside me. "How long?" he asked, his voice rough. "How long have you felt like this?" His question broke the last fragile wall inside me. "Maybe," I whispered. The truth spilled out before I could stop it. Longer than I want to admit. Before I could move, he leaned across the console and kissed me. It wasn't clumsy like the first time on the beach. This kiss was deliberate, certain. The kind of kiss that happens when two people recognize themselves in the most forbidden reflection imaginable. And I kissed him back hard, giving in to years of pent-up hunger, to the intoxicating rush of being wanted, of being truly seen. That was the night we crossed the line. The night there was no going back. What began as a single moment of weakness beneath a summer sun has now become my life, a secret I carry in every breath. I look at Julian, I look at Maya, and I wonder, how do they not see it? The rot seeping into the foundation of our family. Maybe they're too wrapped up in their own worlds, or maybe I've just become an exceptional liar. This is my reality now, a constant, dangerous dance on the edge of a razor. I know it's wrong. I know Leo deserves a real life. And I know I'm destroying him. But every time he looks at me with those intense, knowing eyes, every time he touches me in the quiet shadows of the house, he makes me feel alive in a way I thought was gone forever. And that is the most terrifying truth of all. I don't know how to stop. I don't even know if I want to. That's why I'm telling you this. Maybe someone out there knows the way out of this labyrinth before I lose myself completely. So tell me, please, in the comments. Share your advice. Share your warning. Because loneliness can drive you into places you never thought you'd go. Until one day you look around and realize you've burned down your whole world without even noticing. And once you've crossed that line, you can never come back. Thank you for listening. Please like and subscribe. It's the only way I know I'm not completely alone in this darkness. The worst betrayals, I've learned, aren't the ones we commit against others. They're the ones we commit against ourselves.